My anime watch history is far from peak, missing a lot of the most popular ones like Full Metal Alchemist, Death Note, JoJo, Code Geass, Cowboy Bebop, Yu Yu Hakusho, Neon Genesis Evangelion, One Piece, and Bleach. Like, I'll admit, I'm missing a lot of shit, and instead, I've watched a whole bunch of shit, like In Another World with my smartphone, Isekai Cheat Magician, and Death March into a Parallel World Rhapsody. Isekai, just isekais. Isekais aren't bad, just far from peak. But then there's the harem animes. These are bad. Alright, look, I was a middle schooler, okay, relax. Plus, I haven't watched one in years. Right now, which I'd say is pretty far removed from the harem shit. My current watch list has Demon Slayer, Hell's Paradise, Heavenly Delusions, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Chainsaw Man, Attack on Titan, and Vinland Saga. Now, I'm sure I can make a video on any one of these, but Vinland Saga has gave me an experience that no other one has done before. Now, I won't strap you to a chair and force you to watch it because not everyone will get the same outcome from it as me. Like, for example, if that story for you is Food Wars, it, that's amazing. As a matter of fact, while we're here, let's talk about how the food can have this kind of an effect on you. Like how, and is it real? Because I fucking want it. The prologue is pretty amazing. Before I finally sat down and watched it, the main thing I would hear about it was how the main character, Thorfinn, joins the man that killed his father. But oh my god, is it so much more than that. With this being the prologue, all of this lays out the groundwork for the rest of the story, so you really want to pay attention. And when I first watched it, I very much did not. My first viewing of season 1 was amazing. Not to say that my other rewatches were not. Like, I'll dare say that they're better, but everyone is going to hold on to that first watch. Like the first time you watched a show or a movie, we will always remember our first. Unfortunately, I was only there for the fights. There's this one scene where Thor carries Thorfinn on his back as they walk and talk. I didn't know that shit existed. I'm not gonna lie. It took me like my second rewatch to finally see that scene. I didn't only care for the fights, of course. I did very much care for the story, but I really put fights over everything else. One thing you should know about me is that no matter what, for some reason, my favorite character is almost always the protagonist. For example, I am very much picking Gon over everyone else in Hunter x Hunter. Now, don't get me wrong. Leorio, Jin, Killua, Kite, Netero, like I heavy with them. The point I was trying to make is that even if they aren't the fan favorite or we aren't exactly supposed to be rooting for them, I still do. So in season 1, I ended up missing a bit of the story because I was just trying to skip to the part where Thorfinn was fighting, which I will admit is a mistake. Now, the reason I tell you I skipped so much of the story was because I missed out on what most people would call the best antagonist in anime. Some people even call him the protagonist of the story. Askeladd is at the end of the day a horrible person, and so is Thorfinn, of course, because he's killing all these people. There is a reason why so many people like him. His smarts, for one. Like, he gave some real Pep Guardiola coaching to Thorfinn. In his final moments in that whole dinner scene where he was asked to choose whales or Canute, and he decided to sacrifice himself to save both Canute, which in turn also saved whales, was just so fucking good. Now, many people would actually call him the main character of season 1 because people liked him so much more than Thorfinn. At first, of course, we're supposed to hate him, but then as the story continues, he lets Thorfinn live and is shown as a badass compared to our stagnant main character, which made lots of people like him over the main character. Now, I know I'm not giving this character justice, so if you want to know more about Lucius Arcturus Askeladd, I try to be special, not gonna lie. Now, I said this earlier, but Thorfinn throughout the season was very stagnant. All he cares about is killing Askeladd. Time after time, he gets his ass beat, and he doesn't change. He stays the same kid he was when he vowed for revenge, and in so, going against his father's words.
お前に敵などいない。誰にも敵などいないんだ。傷つけて良いものなどどこにもいない。
After concluding season 1, I went directly into season 2, very blind, and was pleasantly surprised. Before Vinland Saga, I did have some shows that I would watch that didn't have much fighting action, like Erased, Haikyuu, and Hyoka, but I was much more into shonen like Black Clover, Hunter x Hunter, Jujutsu Kaisen, Mob Psycho, Noragami, Ranking of Kings. These may not be the best examples of caring for fighting over story, but in other animes, I didn't care for stories at all that much. So as season 2 continued, I was skipping more and more, and then I realized that Vinland Saga isn't a story about these crazy strong badass war Vikings. It's a story about how all of that is fucking stupid. War and killing aren't glorified because they shouldn't be. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say that you're trash for watching shows that do, because I as well am waiting eagerly for the next release of Attack on Titan to see who dies next. Not to say it glorifies killing, but it might be a reason as to why I watch. Vinland Saga is an amazing piece of historical fiction that also explores the psychological and emotional toll it takes on its characters. The series delves into the repercussions of such actions and raises thought-provoking questions about the nature of conflict, vengeance, and the search for a better future. The constant pursuit of vengeance leads Thorfinn down a path of self-destruction, robbing him of his humanity and preventing any chance of true healing. Thorfinn's thirst for vengeance doesn't do anyone any good. He leaves his family alone, he basically puts himself through hell for this revenge, and in the end, he doesn't even achieve that. In season 2, Thorfinn's character arc shifts from one of blind revenge to one of self-discovery and redemption. Yet his character changes, he can't just forget about his past. Valhalla is depicted as this amazing place where warrior Vikings go after dying in battle. It has been depicted this way across many medium, but the mangaka shows it differently, and in a way that kind of makes sense. If Valhalla is where the strong Vikings go after dying in battle, then Valhalla should be an endless battle. One character we see is Bjorn, one of Askeladd's friends that he had to kill himself. He has been taken over by Valhalla and is fighting everyone, but this time we aren't here for the fighting. We're here for Thorfinn and Askeladd. Now Askeladd says this isn't Valhalla, and this is just where all the shit gets dumped. Now, we're gonna call it Valhalla because that is what everyone else is calling it, and I don't know what else to call it, you know? Askeladd says it's the final destination for warriors. It's the ultimate state of warfare. There are no winners or losers, nor is there an end. Here, everyone except yourself is your enemy. He tells Thorfinn that he too was once there. Well, now it sounds like just a mindset, but that's neither here or there, and Askeladd continues to tell Thorfinn that once he lost himself, piece by piece, he left this place. Thorfinn was this once warrior filled with a desire to enact revenge upon Askeladd. Askeladd actually asked Thorfinn, what fills him up now? He has no more vengeance. Who is Thorfinn now? Thorfinn says he hasn't changed at all, and that is why he returned. Askeladd says that some soul searching is good, but he should look down below him. Below Thorfinn, a tower of dead people has stacked up trying to reach out to him. Thorfinn begins to try and kick them away, but not a second later, Askeladd reveals that they are all people Thorfinn has killed. Thorfinn begins to cry. He doesn't recognize a single face, nor where or when he killed them. The never-ending fighting Vikings begin to shoot arrows at Thorfinn, so Askeladd drops down from his high place and takes care of them, telling Thorfinn he doesn't have time to cry. Even if they're holding on, you must keep climbing. Thorfinn must accept the person he once was so that he can move forward into a better person. I'm sure we all know the phrase, I need a hero. When I say we all need a Vinland Saga, I virtually mean the same thing. Vinland Saga is not a matter of violence is a no-no, stop killing people today, hashtag peace, love, you know, it's not that. But questioning where it comes from, why it remains, and what choices could be made in response to it. The story of Thorfinn has taught me that being a nicer person is much better than being an angry one all the time and holding grudges. Although I don't relate to my father being murdered and seeking revenge, anyone can change along with Thorfinn. Before Vinland Saga, I definitely didn't think twice about the things I did, especially decisions and situations when I was angry. I couldn't give two fucks about what you had to say. I only thought about spreading my anger away from me and onto you. Now, I like to say I've toned down a considerable amount and I'm a much calmer person and always think before I react. In the beginning, I said if, for you, Food Wars was your Vinland Saga, that is okay. Almost any medium can be a substitute for Vinland Saga in this quote. The only criteria is that it makes you grow. For example, Food Wars could make you become a cook or even a better one. Although I will be honest, I have not watched it. If you can find a show or anime or book or video or movie that in some way, shape, or form makes you grow, that is your substitute for Vinland Saga. Ultimately, the key is to find stories and media that resonate with you personally and have the power to provoke thought, encourage self-reflection, and inspire positive change. Now, I know this is out of nowhere, especially compared to my other content, but if you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe because I might have another series on the way.